So we got Brint over here today with his car. It's a 2013 Focus ST. It's actually got a coolant leak from the cooling line going between the engine block and the turbocharger. It uses a little kind of steel washer to seal the line. So we've got a new line and a new washer. We've got to take the downpipe out. Brint's working on getting the kind of under engine shield out right now. It's a really small coolant leak and it's been bugging Brint for a while. The car only has what,
35 on it?
Yeah, 75,000 miles. So definitely something that other people might run into. So we wanted to kind of document it and put it out there. So up under the car here with the under engine shield removed, if we look up here, it's kind of hard to see, but that coolant line bolted to the back of the block right there is a little wet behind that downpipe V-band.
This is the fitting in the back of the block that's leaking, and my original plan was just to try and replace this sealing washer, maybe the banjo bolt, but Gates makes this whole line. It's like $15. So we just bought the whole line and pulled a whole new line on with new sealing washers.
$15, not bad. You're gonna have more in like downpipe hardware than you will in fixing the line.
Yeah, the downpipe V-band looks questionable, so that clamp was like 22 bucks. And then the downpipe to exhaust connection, we'll have to put new bolts on because the studs are pretty wasted.
Okay. So we think the most challenging part is just gonna be getting this V-band clamp off the turbo to the downpipe. It's pretty rusty, and then to take that downpipe out, we've got to come back here and take these bolts out. They're actually studs in the mid pipe. We'll try to get these nuts off. We'll see how it goes. If we break them, we've got some new hardware to put in there. So here's the new replacement V-band, and then I didn't realize this, but there's actually a V-band gasket. I've never actually seen that before. Here's the gasket for the downpipe to the mid pipe, and then some new hardware we've got. What do you think you spent on all that? Just random stuff.
All the random stuff was like 35, 40 bucks, but in total, with coolant, maybe $100.
Okay. So you can see what we had to do here. We actually ground the back side of this stud flat, and then started drilling it enough to loosen it up. And now I'm just taking a punch and punching it through. For whatever reason, I'm having an issue with my torches. I don't know. Probably would have been easier to cut it off with a torch, but we're gonna work with what we have today. So that's what it looks like with both.
Hi, shoulders.
Both removed. So the holes look pretty clean. We won't have an issue putting a new gasket in there at all, but it was a pain in the butt to drill them out and punch them out. So you can see our V-band bolt right here broke off as soon as we tried to loosen it, but it's actually loose inside the hole. I don't know if you can see that. So it's not stuck. We should be able to spread this V-band, get it off of there, and put a new one on. But I wouldn't try to do this without buying a new V-band. You're gonna need it. Okay, so there are also these two bolts holding the downpipe on. You can see we snapped one off. And then we realized we could just loosen these two bolts that this bracket attaches to. So we did that. And when we go back together, we're not gonna fix this, honestly. We're just gonna have one bolt here on this bracket. But this got the downpipe out of the way enough that we can get to our coolant line now up there. You can see that leak a little better, and we should have good access to that now. So Brent got the line out here. We don't see anything obvious between the kind of the bolt and the sealing washer. It wasn't hard to navigate the line out once the bolts were removed. However, the bolt on the block that you kind of see way up there where it was leaking. What'd you have to do, Brent? Put a bit on a 1/4 inch wrench.
So that I had whatever says on it was on a wobble extension, and I had to hold the downpipe out of the way to get that loose. That wasn't too bad. The hard part was getting this little line clamp. I think it was a T30 Torx, and I had to put that on a 1/4 inch wrench because the firewall's right here.
Okay.
So there wasn't a lot of room to work with there. But once the downpipe is out of the way, which if your exhaust studs are messed up like ours was, that's the hardest part of this job. Once the downpipe is moved out of the way, getting it these two really isn't all that bad, other than the constantly dripping coolant situation.
Let's where's that wrench and Torx bit? Let's show what that looks like real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right
So
there.
that's what we had to do to get that bracket off.
Yeah, a socket on a ratchet was too tall to
Yeah.
get in there. But
Good deal. We'll get the new one in there.
Yep.
All right, so Brent's got the new line bolted in. You can see it there. And then the other side is now hidden up there behind the downpipe. So new line went in really easily, and we're just working on getting the downpipe back in now. All right, so we're all back together here underneath. You can see the new V-band clamp there. The new coolant line is up on top of that. And you can see the connection at the turbocharger there. And then one thing I wanted to mention is that we didn't actually have to pull the O2 sensor out of the downpipe. There was enough slack there to leave it plugged in and just disconnect it from the clips. And then these are our new bolts and gasket from the downpipe to the midpipe. They're 10mm bolts, 40mm long. You probably could go with 35mm long, but these worked out pretty well. They're a Dorman bolt, so they're a grade 10.9. So that's it under here. We're gonna button up this under engine shield and then bleed the coolant. So this thing's just sitting here running, bleeding out. We'll get her topped off and it will be good to go. Coolant leak fixed. See you next time.